At 2:30 a.m., when she went up to the third floor, she saw him. The patient who died last month was walking down the corridor in the same hospital gown, and he was coming towards Sarah. Welcome to the Human Stories. Before we begin this horror story, make sure your lights are on. Tell us in the comments what city you're watching from, and if you believe mysterious stories like this need to be told. Hit that subscribe button, because some stories shouldn't be lost in the darkness. St. Mary's Hospital in northern Chicago was an old building constructed in 1952. Within its 70-year-old walls, it harbored thousands of stories. Life stories, death stories, and some that never ended. Sarah Mitchell was a 42-year-old experienced nurse. She had been working the night shift at this hospital for 15 years. From 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., bringing life to the hospital was her duty. Most nurses avoided the night shift. Too lonely, too quiet, too somber. But Sarah was used to it. Actually, she loved the night shift. There was no chaos of the day shift. No visitor noise, phone ringing, constant rush. Night was calmer. There were only patients trying to survive, nurses caring for them, and silence. St. Mary's Hospital had 5 floors. Ground floor emergency room, first floor general internal medicine, second floor surgery, third floor intensive care, fourth floor psychiatry. Sarah usually worked between the first and second floors, but when needed, she would go up to the third floor. The third floor. Every nurse was a bit wary of the third floor. That was intensive care. The sickest patients, the most critical conditions, and of course, the most deaths. Among hospital staff, there were rumors about the third floor, that strange sounds were heard, unexpected events occurred. But Sarah didn't believe these. Her 15 years of experience had shown her that hospitals are naturally somber places. Every night she followed the same routine. First patient check, then medication distribution, then reports. First round at 12 o'clock, second round at 3, last round at 6. This order hadn't changed for 15 years. But this month, something was different. At the beginning of the last month, a new patient had come to the third floor. Robert Anderson, 67 years old, a retired teacher. He had suffered a heart attack. His condition was critical. He was placed in room 314. Robert was a quiet man. He didn't talk much, had no visitors. He said he had no family. He only had necessary conversations with nurses. Thank you. Good night. If it's not too much trouble. He was polite, but distant. Sarah had encountered him several times. When she went up to the third floor, she would stop by Robert's room. The man was usually sleepless. He would sit by the window, watching outside. The lights of Chicago at night, passing cars. "Can't sleep, Mr. Anderson?" Sarah would ask. "No, nurse. Night makes a person think too much, keeps one sleepless." "What are you thinking about?" Robert would smile. "The past, the future. Which one is more frightening?" Sarah found this answer strange, but didn't dwell on it. Elderly patients sometimes philosophized. This was normal. Robert Anderson stayed in the hospital for 3 weeks. His condition was slowly improving. Doctors said he could be discharged. But just then, something unexpected happened. On the night of October 25th, Sarah was making her normal rounds. At 2:45 a.m., she went up to the third floor. When she looked into Robert's room, she saw the man wasn't in bed. She felt concern, not fear. The patient might have fallen. She searched the room. The bathroom was empty. He wasn't on the balcony. He had pressed the nurse call button, but no sound was coming. Sarah went out to the corridor, started looking for Robert, and she found him. At the end of the corridor, next to the elevator, on the floor, motionless. He had suffered a heart attack. Sarah immediately intervened. She performed CPR, tried to give him breath, called the doctor, but it was too late. Robert Anderson died at 3:15 a.m. After Robert's death, room 314 remained empty. The hospital administration cleaned the room, prepared it for a new patient, but somehow no one wanted to place anyone there. The first strange event occurred a week after his death. Maria, the cleaning staff working the night shift, said she heard sounds from the third floor. Footsteps, Maria said. Someone was walking in the corridor, but no one was there. Sarah didn't believe this. Maria, there are always sounds in the hospital. Ventilator, air conditioning, elevator. No, nurse. This was different. Human footsteps. The next night, another event occurred. Tom, the night shift security guard, noticed something strange on the security cameras. Someone is walking in the third floor corridor, he said. But it's very blurry. I can't see clearly. Sarah checked the cameras. There really was a faint shadow, but it was so vague it could also be a camera error. Old cameras, Sarah said. Shadow play. But the events continued to increase. A week later, Jessica, the nurse on the third floor, came running to Sarah. Sarah, I'm not going into room 314 anymore. Why? Sounds are coming from inside, like someone is talking. Sarah calmed Jessica down. Jess, the room is empty. It's impossible for sounds to come. But I heard it. I heard it clearly. Sarah went to room 314. She opened the door, looked inside. The room was completely empty. Spotless. There was no sound. Look, Jess, there's nothing. Jessica wasn't sure. Maybe not now, but Sarah, something is in that room. But Sarah didn't know yet that Jessica was right. Robert Anderson's death was just the beginning, because some people have unfinished business even after they die. And Robert's unfinished business would draw Sarah in too. Now I want to ask you, have you ever heard non-existent sounds somewhere? In your home at midnight? At your workplace? Sounds you couldn't explain? Share with us in the comments, because some sounds are not just sounds. On the night of November 2nd, Sarah was making her normal rounds. It was exactly 2:30 a.m. She decided to go up to the third floor. She wanted to check what Jessica had said. She got on the elevator, went up to the third floor. When the doors opened, the familiar smell greeted her. Hospital disinfectant, clean sheets, and that faint medicine smell. As she walked down the corridor, everything was normal. The patients in intensive care were sleeping. The sounds of monitors were coming regularly. Everything was in its place. She approached room 314. She stopped in front of the door. Was there sound inside? She listened. Nothing. She opened the door, looked inside. The room was completely empty. The bed was spotless. The window was closed. Nothing. Jessica is exaggerating, she thought. As she was about to close the door and leave, she heard a voice behind her. Nurse. Sarah froze. She slowly turned around, and she saw him. Robert Anderson, standing in the corridor in the same hospital gown. His face was pale, his eyes were wide. He was looking at Sarah. Sarah's heart began to beat rapidly. Her breathing became irregular. This wasn't possible. Robert had died. His funeral had been held. You died, Sarah whispered. Robert smiled. Death is just a passage, nurse. The real question is, which side will you cross to? Sarah backed away. This isn't possible. You're not real. What is real? Robert said. You've been working here for 15 years. How many people died? How many don't leave? Sarah couldn't make a sound. I'm waiting for you in room 314, Robert said. We have things to discuss. And at that moment, all the lights in the corridor went out for a moment. When they came back on, Robert was gone. Sarah couldn't sleep that night. When her shift ended, she went home but kept thinking about Robert. Could she have been hallucinating? Hallucination from fatigue, but he was so real. His speech, his looks, his smile, everything was real. The next day, she came to the hospital early. She wanted to research Robert Anderson. She requested Robert's file from Human Resources. Why do you want it? The clerk asked. For patient follow-up. I need family information. Robert Anderson's file was quite thin. There was basic information. 67 years old, retired teacher, single, no close relatives. Emergency contact information was blank. But one detail caught Sarah's attention. Robert's arrival at the hospital wasn't normal. He had been brought by ambulance, but no one had called. He had called himself. Strange, Sarah thought. If he's having a heart attack, how can he call himself? She requested the ambulance report. The report said, "Patient was very calm in his own call. He gave his address clearly. When we arrived, he was waiting to open the door. He had heart attack symptoms but was conscious and able to speak." Sarah went deeper. She researched Robert's home. He lived in a small house in South Chicago. According to real estate records, he had put his house up for sale last month. Why? She thought. How did he know he would have a heart attack? That evening, she came to her shift again. This time, she was prepared. If she encountered Robert, she knew what to ask. At 2:30 a.m., she went up to the third floor again. This time, she went directly to room 314. She opened the door. Robert was there, sitting by the window, just like he used to do when he was alive. "You were waiting for me," Sarah said. "Of course," Robert said. "You needed to come. Why are you here? Why don't you leave?" Robert turned, looked at Sarah. "Because I have things to tell you, and you're ready to listen to me now." Sarah entered the room. She felt fear, but also curiosity. "You really died," Sarah said. "Yes, but dying doesn't always mean ending." "What do you mean?" Robert smiled. "Sarah, how many people do you think died in this hospital?" Sarah thought. "Thousands." "And did they all leave?" Sarah's inside shivered. "What do you mean?" "Some of the people who died in this hospital are still here. They refuse to leave, or they can't leave." "Why?" "Because they have unfinished business. Words to say, things to do. And sometimes they want to help the living." Sarah was surprised. "Help? Sarah, you've been working here for 15 years. Have you ever wondered why some of your patients recover unexpectedly?" Sarah thought. There really were such cases. Hopeless patients would suddenly get better. Doctors couldn't explain it. "Who are they?" Sarah asked. "People who died here in the past. Doctors, nurses, patients. They're still trying to help." "Follow me," Robert said. "I want to show you things." Sarah hesitated, but her curiosity was stronger than her fear. They started walking in the corridor. Robert in front, Sarah behind. Footsteps echoed. "Do you see that room?" Robert said, pointing to 308. "Dr. Williams died there. He had a heart attack in 1987. But he's still here. Every night he checks his critical patients." Sarah looked at 308. Inside, an elderly man was standing next to a patient bed. He was wearing a white coat, but he was very pale, almost transparent. Is he real?" Sarah whispered. "What is real to you?" Robert said. They went down to the second floor. Robert showed another room. "Nurse Betty," he said. "She died of cancer in 1995, but she still loves her patients. She sings to them at night." Sarah listened. She really heard a faint melody, very distant, very quiet. "Why can I see them?" Sarah asked. "Because you're like them," Robert said. "For 15 years here, you've been helping people. Your soul has connected with this hospital." Sarah's inside shivered. "Am I going to die?" Robert smiled. "Everyone will die, Sarah. But the question is, how will you live after death?" They went back up to the third floor. Robert took Sarah to room 314. "I want to make you an offer," Robert said. "What kind of offer?" "Stay with us. In this hospital, help people forever. Death won't stop you." Sarah was surprised. "I haven't died yet." "But you will, like everyone. The question is, when that day comes, would you want to stay here?" Sarah thought. For 15 years she had been coming here. She had spent most of her life here. She was alone at home, had few friends. Maybe her real home was here. "Can I think about it?" Sarah said. "Of course, but remember, this opportunity isn't given to everyone." At that moment, sounds came from the corridor. Tom, the night shift security guard, was coming. "Nurse Sarah, where are you?" Sarah looked at Robert. "Can he see you?" No, only you can see, because you were chosen. Tom came to the room. Sarah, are you here? I was looking for you. Sarah looked at Tom. Tom only saw Sarah in the room. He couldn't see Robert. Yes, Tom, I'm here. Emergency needs you. There was a big accident. Sarah looked at Robert one last time. I'll think about it. Robert smiled. I'll be here. After that night, Sarah's life changed. Every night when she came to the hospital, she saw them. Dead doctors, nurses, patients. They were all still on duty. And she noticed that unexpected recoveries really were happening in the hospital. Critical patients suddenly got better. Hopeless cases were miraculously saved because they were helping. They continued to serve even after death. Sarah often talked with Robert. She learned his story. Robert had taught for 40 years. He had changed the lives of hundreds of students. But he had no family, no friends left. The only place he was happy was school. This hospital is my new school, Robert said. I can help people here too. Days passed. Sarah spent more time with them every night. She was distancing herself from her normal life. She wasn't meeting anyone outside of work. Only the hospital. Only night shift. Only them. One night, Dr. Williams approached Sarah. Nurse Sarah, he said, can I talk to you? Of course, doctor. Robert made you an offer, but don't be hasty. This is a big decision. How so? Becoming like us. It's very beautiful, but also very difficult. You'll be here forever. You can never leave. Sarah thought. So are you sorry? Dr. Williams smiled. No, because I'm still helping people. This is enough for me. A month later, Sarah had made her decision. She found Robert. My answer is ready, she said. I'm listening. I accept, but with one condition. What is it? I don't want to die yet. When my death comes naturally, then I'll stay with you. Robert smiled. That's a fair condition. Accepted. So what happens now? Now you'll continue living. But now you know of our existence too. And when necessary, we'll work together. From that day on, Sarah's life became completely different. She was still alive, but no longer afraid of death, because she knew that after death, she could continue to serve. And every night, miracles continued to happen in the hospital, because not only living people were caring for it, the dead were there too, and they continued to help people. Sarah Mitchell still works at St. Mary's Hospital. She completed her 20th year, but she's not alone anymore. Every night she works with her invisible colleagues. Patients continue to recover. Miracles that doctors can't explain happen. And Sarah knows this isn't just the power of medicine. It's also the power of love and the desire to serve. Because some people don't give up even after death. They continue to serve, help, give hope. Now I ask you again, have you ever witnessed unexplainable recoveries, unexpected help, mysterious events? Maybe there were invisible helpers beside you too. If this story touched you, share your experiences in the comments, because sometimes the most beautiful stories are written beyond the visible world. And remember, the desire to serve is stronger than death. Warning. This video is a fictional narrative containing horror, thriller, and mystical themes. Characters, events, and situations are entirely imaginary or dramatized, and should not be interpreted as factual representations of real-life individuals or events. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or real situations is purely coincidental. Since this content contains horror elements, sensitive viewers should be cautious.